So let's create this exercise of ordering coffee, right? So we want to order coffee. Let's do a process step for that. All right, let's do it. I was planning on doing it in Miro, but I'm going to see if I can get it done in Lucid Chart since it has better shapes. Try that. So in Lucid Chart, you can create a new page, right? So you can have different diagrams across different pages. So let's say I want to create a new page. And obviously, if I'm going to start a process, I'm going to start with my terminator, right? So this is what the terminator looks like. Okay. And you can color it however you want. Now, since Cynthia has highlighted the best practice of red, I'll go with red. So we're just going to still color to be red. No, sorry, green. Yeah. So we'll just name this start. Okay, so we're going to order coffee. Well, one of the things is, are we going to order coffee online or are we going to go order coffee in the store? To make this simple for now, we're just going to talk about ordering the coffee in the store, right? So the first thing I would do to order coffee is I would start a process. By the way, you guys can tell me what would be the first step in ordering coffee? Where would you start? The task is just to create a process flow for ordering coffee in the store. Where would you start?
Are you in the shop already?
Yeah,
you need to go to the shop. Go to the counter where you make the order, maybe the customer service or the shop attendant.
Okay. So
if you know already the type of coffee you want, that will be straight on. But if you don't, you may have to take some time to look at what they have on the menu or the board, the display board, to know exactly what you want.
Very good. This is going to be a very quick exercise because it's very simple, right? So you drive to the coffee shop, right? Then you review the menu, like what is there. And then, and this is in order. So the good thing about Lucid Chart is you just need to drag, it's going to automatically assume it's an arrow. I mean, we could have arrowless sticks, but it's going to put it in an arrow and it lets you help to align the steps. So that's pretty good. So you're going to drive to the coffee shop, you're going to review the menu, and then you're going to decide, right? Like decide which option you're going to take. So now you have a decision. What happens if, what are the options you could have in your decision? What's the question you're asking yourself when you're trying to determine which coffee you're going to order?
Your preference, what you like, the time of the day, if it's in the morning hours.
Yes. I'll probably be thinking to myself, do I like anything or do I want anything on this menu? Right? Is there anything here that I want? Because I don't know about you, but I go to the coffee shop and I always like to try different things. I don't have like every morning it's a cappuccino or every morning it's the same latte order. Like I go in there, okay, what do I want today? And I'm like looking around, okay, maybe I have iced coffee today. Like I'm just not a everyday the same kind of coffee person. So maybe if you already are, you don't have a decision because it's just gonna order what you always get. But for me, I like, is there anything I want to buy? Because I'm always unsure. I'm just not a very disciplined shopper, I guess. Okay, so is there anything I want to buy here? I know I want the coffee, but do I want a latte? Do I want an iced coffee? What do I want? And the options now will be different. So if I find something I want, then yes. And if that's the case, and look, Lucid Chart tries to give me the next thing, which would be a decision, right? But I don't need a decision right here because I know what I want now. So what I want is actually to change the shape to a box, a process step. So see how easy that was? it kind of preempts the shape that you want. And if you don't, you just go change the shape and it's right there. So now what I want is there anything I want to buy? Yes. Then I'm going to give order to the barista, right? Okay. And it also already gives you the yes. It assumes that the first option that you have is a yes. Let me make it bigger so it's easier to see. Right? And it also, what I like about it is that it puts the text in an easy way. With the other tools like Miro, sometimes you get it, but sometimes you have to actually add, like, let me show you real quick. And this is a good thing with Lucy Chat that I like. If I wanted to create a connector, I could do that very easy. But now I have to go add a text, for example. And now I have to say yes. So it's more work, a little bit more work. See what I mean? I like how Lucy Chart just preempts and thinks about it for you ahead of time. Okay.
This video is brought to you by the Back Office Club. So go to backofficeclub.org to learn more about the program I have to help you to grow as a business analyst. So you work on projects, real projects with real complexities from the real world. So you really can practice how to be a BA. If you have a job or you're in the job market, this will be great for you. You don't have to have experience to join. You'll be surrounded by like-minded individuals who are also trying to start their career. You have a direct access to ask a question, get the questions answered. This is not like an online course that you're just watching videos, and you have a question is like, where do I go to get an answer, right? You always have the community. You have myself. You practice with the real tools that we use in the field, such as Jira, DevOps. You learn how to work with designs. You learn how to lead. You learn how to have refinement sessions. You learn how to run these stand-ups if you're in agile. So you get a lot of exposure. And we have touch points every single week. So you're meeting with me, you're talking with me, you're talking with the team, you're getting the support to grow your career. So I would encourage you to check out the Back Office Club at backofficeclub.org or the link below the description of this video. Watch this video. And then when you're done, go check out the Back Office Club because there'll be a lot of good stuff over there to help you cement yourself as an expert business analyst. All right, now go watch the rest of the video. See you over there. Bye.
So you give the order to the barista. If I don't find anything, what do I do? If I don't see anything I want,
You leave.
yeah, you get out of there. You're wasting time.
You leave.
Or maybe I'm at the coffee shop like a Starbucks just to use the internet and sit down and chit chat, but I wouldn't sit there without buying something. So, yes. So now if it's a no, see if it's going to put the no for me. Oh, it didn't put the no. Okay, that's weird. So then I leave shop, okay? And that's the end of my process. Well, I thought it would, well, let's see. Maybe when I play this, oh, there you go. Yes, it did. Good. Because I was like, why wouldn't it put the no if it already knows where the yes is going? Okay. So now you leave the shop, and guess what? That's the end of your process. So you got to put your terminator. Just stay out the way, put the terminator. And if you're going to follow our convention, this is our end. So we'll name it end. There you go. So you give the order to the barista, and this is where it gets really cool. Now you can use your purified process because the barista is going to make your coffee. You don't know how they make it. You don't know what they shake up and all the ingredients they put and whatever. It depends on whatever you ordered, right? So the barista, well, you need to pay first. Where did you pay? You give the order to the barista and then you pay. We're going to assume your payment went through because there could be another spin-off that says, if the payment didn't go through, now you got to leave, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we could do that too. But we're not going to do that right now. So we're going to say, give order to the barista, then we're going to pay. So let's add the pay. So even if you draw the line, you can actually add the shape after. So you don't have to have the shape and then draw the line. You can do either one. And then always try to make your lines kind of straight. I hate to see crooked lines. It drives me nuts. So now you're going to do pay for order. Okay. You pay for the order, and then so you're starting to run out of space. So you also have to be conscious of how you structure your diagrams, that you're not squeezing things up at the end, right? So you could probably put this one here, and you try to keep it within the same size as the other, so it kind of looks uniform. And with all of the tools, even Miro will help you to do that. The barista will make the order. For this process flow, we don't care how they make the orders. That's why we use a predefined step to represent that there's a number of steps that they're taking, but it's not necessary for the purpose of this. So we don't have to spend time ironing out all of those steps, right? The vice makes the order, that's enough for us right now. And then they give us the order and we leave. Okay. So now we'll go, another process flow would be receive coffee, I guess, or get the coffee. There's a couple of steps in here where they make it, they put it on the counter, then they call the name, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to worry about that right now. For this flow, it's enough to just say that you receive the coffee and you leave the shop. Now you already have leave shop right here, so it makes it much more easier to just create this little, that's not what I wanted to create. To pull this out to here. There we go. And then align it. Okay, there we go. So this one goes to here. Oh, I'm so close. It won't let me add any more shapes because I'm out of my free. Okay. So the idea would be this goes here, this goes to leave shop, and this goes to the end. See what I mean? And they have a process flow. Very, very simple. Very, very to the point. Easy to follow. Everybody can see what you're doing. And now you have this document that you can share. All right. So that's that process flow. Let me run through the rest of this in the next couple minutes so that we can cover the other things I had planned for you. All right. So let's go back to this presentation deck right here. Okay. So we did that exercise. Okay. So in the real world, when you're mapping process flows, obviously it's not going to be as simple as this. You're going to have lots more complexity, but this is the principle that you're using, where you have decisions, you have two different processes, you have regular processes start and end. You don't really need a lot of shapes. So we use it for requirement solicitation, for stakeholder validation, because sometimes you just want to validate, show them what they told you in a diagram way, so you can expose if there's anything you're missing. It helps you to find gaps as well. Gap analysis, obviously, and as is to be modeled. This is the most common. So you want to model what do they do now, and then you model what they will do. And that's exactly what we're going to work on in more detail when we do our BA Connect for our Project 10. Here's another example we can practice, role play. It's in for a group on a trip, but we'll have time for that right now, so I'll move on from that. Here's some quick tips about writing or designing process flows. Keep it consistent. Don't mix up symbols for the same type of action. So if your process step is just actions that is being taken, don't use it for something else, like some other type of action that's different, right? Don't create any kind of confusion. Label things clearly. Don't rely on the color or just the shape, but put the label in there, make it clear. Make sure your direction of flow makes sense, so you're not showing things going up when it should be going down. And then review your document with your stakeholder, review your flow to make sure that you got it right, because they will probably know it a lot more than you because they do it every day. Did somebody raise their hand? No? Okay, cool. Next, so swim lanes. We haven't talked about swim lanes. We use swim lanes and we want to show the role, right? So you can have swim lanes going horizontally or swim lanes going vertically. So I'm going to show you that real quick. So the swim lanes are very important because it helps show you who is doing what. So it's one thing to just be showing, okay, we're working on this thing, or we're doing these steps, but who is doing the step? For example, in this example we just looked at, we could have a swim lane for the barista doing their part and a swim lane for the person who's making the purchase. So we have two swim lanes. So swim lanes can go in either direction. So I'm going to go back to my home page. Okay, so the swim lanes is just a way for you to identify who is doing the action. It's very useful, very helpful, and you can really help to create clarity when you can design your process flow based on the swim lanes. Because it will be very easy for them to identify which role is doing what action. And that's something that I think a lot of people find very, very helpful when you're being presented like that.
Can you see mine now?
There you go. That's exactly what we're talking about. So there are two types of swim lanes. This is the horizontal one. You can also do the vertical one. And it's just really to show the role. And I think when you can create diagrams like this, one of the things you have to look out for is making sure that you use the space wisely so you don't end up making it hard to follow, like which lane goes to where, and the lines get easily crossed a lot. And when you're creating a process flow, you don't want any of your lines to cross. Crossing lines is the bad thing. So that's the main thing. Yeah.
Karaleise, you said crossing a line. What do you mean by that?
For example, in this example, you have, if you zoom in a lot, okay, you see where these two purple boxes are, and there's a line that crosses in between them.
You mean this?
You have to avoid crossing lines. Sometimes you can avoid them, but it's not good practice to cross the lines.
Oh, I was trying to manage the space.
That's the thing. This is why people get frustrated with it, because sometimes when you have so many steps, how do you go without having a lot of cross? The reason why is because when you cross the lines, it's harder to follow. Because the line is going here, another one is coming there, and so the flow must go in a smooth way from this step to this step to this step to this step.
Okay.
Your decision. So you shouldn't have a lot of crossing of lines. That's really a bad thing.
Because what it means is that, for instance, I'll have to move this one down to be under this exactly, and then this one will start from here.
So you spend a lot of time doing those things, cleaning up,
and then I'll consume more space.
Yes, and if you can't fit everything in space, that's where you're going to use your circle. And I didn't show you that. I need to show that in the next session. Use your circle to represent your on-page connector if it's on the same page. That way you don't have to cross the lines. That's the whole purpose of the on-page connector, to avoid crossing lines. And then there's another shape that represents your off-page connector. So if I had to create another page to continue with the flow, then I would put, instead of putting a terminator here, I'd put off-page connector. And then on the next page, I start with the off-page connector so you know where to pick up from. See what I mean? So those are the two other shapes that we can talk about. But we'll end here for now, guys. Thank you all for joining. And I will pick up on this in our next Technique Boutique. We'll talk more about process flows and swim lanes in order to prepare for doing that project that we talked about earlier. So thank you all for joining, and we'll talk. Thank you.